Happy Sunday, Risers. We're back with another round of hashtag Rising Qs where we answer your questions. And I think Ryan has the first one for us.
All right. This question comes from Christine Copestake. When is Fauci going to feel pressure and come clean on all his misinformation? He still won't admit that masks were a waste of time or the probability that it came from the lab. Where is the science? Rand Paul taught me more on your interview than Fauci ever tried to do. The mask question is an interesting one because and Omicron's evolution plays into this. But, as we talked about yesterday, he in February, March was basically lying to people and telling them that masks didn't work so that there wouldn't be a run on masks that were needed by healthcare providers. Then by April, he said, yeah, actually masks do work. Now they're saying that, well, the cloth ones might not actually be effective against Omicron. Now, cloth ones may have been effective against the wild variant, the alpha variant. We don't know. But the broader question, I don't know if he will be held accountable. My cynical side says no. But if the political winds shift enough, if I were him, I would take this opportunity of the wave receding and retire and go enjoy the rest of his life and try to go out as a conquering hero.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why he didn't retire long ago. I mean, at the start of this pandemic, I would have been like, I am out. I don't want to be associated with this.
Well, if you're an epidemiologist, yeah, it's like this is your Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be held accountable for anything. I think that they're just going to say, like what they're saying now, the science has changed. And so, we were right all along. We were right then and we're right now, even though it's contradictory. It's the science changed.
If we find out significantly more to substantiate the lab leak theory, and it looks more clear than it does right now that the NIH funding, that kind of thing. If all that comes out, and that could be years, that could be decades from now. I mean, they'll unbury his corpse and hang, draw, and quarter him, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one thing because he actively shut down that conversation. Yeah.
Right. Well, but I think there's a difference between covering something up. So if we have evidence that Fauci knew about it and covered it up, that's one thing. But ignorance, I think, is what they're going to be able to claim on this because they say, well, we just didn't want to look into it.
We have evidence that he knew that it was a live question. And
right.
He smothered the question.
Yeah.
All right. What's our next question?
Okay, let's see here. We've got Cesar Marquez asked, what are your thoughts on Dems pushing for voting reform publicly? Meanwhile, they are suing ballot initiatives to stop open, nonpartisan primaries and ranked choice voting. I'm a big fan of ranked choice voting. But I think that this is kind of what we've seen time and time again where, we're talking out of two sides of of our mouths, right? We're saying, well, we want more democracy, but not that kind of democracy, this kind of democracy.
I don't know about a lot. I didn't know that they were suing on ranked choice voting because there's plenty of arguments being made that ranked choice voting actually helps the major parties because it allows people who don't care about who don't support the major parties to still participate in the elections, vote for their preferred candidate who doesn't have a chance, and then as a second, vote for the second person, and that second person is one of the major parties. So London Breed this kind of ran as the centrist Democrat for mayor, and only beat the kind of progressive insurgent because of ranked choice voting. The progressive had more votes, then they retabulated it with ranked choice, and that person won. Ranked choice, if Maine had been close, if Democrats hadn't completely bungled their race against Susan Collins, ranked choice voting would have helped them a ton in Maine because so many people vote third party in Maine. So it seems counterproductive. But yes, ultimately, all of these questions about process for the major parties are cynical, and it's about power for them.
Right. Nobody wants to give it up.
Yeah, I like ranked choice voting as well. But it's just
you do end up, with more moderate candidates. I think a lot of the time when you do ranked choice voting, but you do end up with a candidate that more people are happy with, or at least can live with, rather than extremes.
Yeah, and moderate is not necessarily a bad thing in terms of temperament. In a lot of ways, moderating the kind of craziness people is a good
And ranked choice voting, it expands the debate because it allows you to then take seriously people who, from the beginning, aren't obviously viable.
And that can oftentimes push the moderate candidate into positions that they otherwise wouldn't take. So you still end up with a moderate candidate, but they have to adopt some of these more popular policies. So there's a lot of benefit to it, I think.
Last but not least, Randy Bolton asked, when do we as a nation stop putting up with the woke mob and the media that only inflames the public? There has to be a time to say enough is enough. Get back to common sense thought, facts and media matter, and stop the witch hunting, the crazy embrace. Yes, these are some leading questions here. These are some speeches. I joke about this when I go and I speak at events. I'm stealing this from my boss at Reason, Catherine Mangu-Ward, who, when it's time for a Q&A and she's speaking, she goes, and please ask your question in the form of a question. Because so many questions at events are speeches, and then if there is a question, it's, and how right am I?
Please make your speech in the form of a question and at least humor me up here.
But no, we appreciate all the questions we get from our viewers. And I agree. The woke mob has gone too far. We talk about that a lot. Is it going to, are the fires going to go out? I don't know. I think the role that social media plays, particularly in inflaming people or allowing the media to inflame people, is something not to discount, and it's not really going away anytime soon.
It's not just social media. If anything, actually, the mainstream media does it more than social media in a lot of ways, because they need the ratings, right? And they know, okay, if we go in this extreme position, if we say these things that cause emotion, because emotion keeps people glued to the television screen, or reading headlines, clickbait headlines that are circulated on social media by these mainstream outlets. So it's going to be really tough to kind of get rid of this extreme hyper emotion style news reporting when that's what gets the clicks, that's what gets the eyeballs. It's going to be, they're just going to shift what it is about. It used to be war, and then, for a long time it was like sex, right? Sex sells. Can't go back to that time. And then
these
war,
are very
and
unsexy times.
Yeah. And things are, but it's constantly changing. Every social phenomenon then creates some type of a reaction and response to it, and then that response influences the phenomenon, and then it creates something new out of it. And so we're not stuck in this forever. That's for sure.
Let's hope. Let's hope not.
It can't be.
All right. Well, that does it for us. Thank you for your questions. Keep sending them. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you then.